PV8, NDP9, and NDP10 cannot be moved. So, Mr. Davies, NDP8.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I'm not going to repeat most of the arguments I've made already, but this is, again, an attempt by the New Democrats to take out the criminalized approach to cannabis and replace it with a regulatory system more in keeping with tobacco and alcohol. But I would just mention a couple of new points that I haven't mentioned yet, and that is we heard a lot of evidence before this committee of the very harmful effects of criminalization of cannabis on certain specific groups in this country, notably marginalized groups, racialized groups, and Indigenous Canadians, and young Canadians. Those are the groups that tend to bear the brunt of a criminalized approach to cannabis. And the second point that I want to emphasize is the overwhelming evidence from the sociologists that have studied this issue that most of the harm that is imparted upon Canadian citizens in this country does not come from ingesting cannabis itself. It comes from the harms associated with the criminalized nature of it. And so I think those are important points to mention as reasons that should cause parliamentarians to choose a rational regulatory approach to cannabis and try to avoid criminalizing this substance where we can. Just like alcohol and tobacco, I think we can construct a regulatory regime where Canadians respect the basic rules around these adult use substances that have impacts on people, but without doing it with the heavy hand of the criminal law. So this amendment is to replace the criminalized approach with a regulatory fine-based one.
Thank you very much. Seeing no further debate, I call for a vote on NDP 8. All in favor?
Could I please have a recorded vote?
Surely.
Monsieur Ayoub?
No.
Mr. Wilson?
No.
Mr. McCannon?
No.
Mr. Oliver? Ms. Sidhu? Ms. Gledu? Mr. Van Kensteren? Mr. Weber? Mr. Davies?
Yes.
Yes pour 1, nays contre 8, 8.
I declare NDP